My child, stop right there. I am speaking to you now, not later, not someday, not when you feel ready. Right now. I am reaching into this moment and stopping you mid-scroll, mid-thought, mid-distraction, because this is not random and this is not noise. This is not for everyone. This is for you. Just you and me. I need you to feel that before anything else settles in your mind. Open this. Yes, this. I know how it sounds. I know what it resembles. But I am not playing games with your attention. I am not using hype. I am not exaggerating to pull you in. I am using language you recognize so you will pause long enough for truth to reach you. I have a surprise for you, and it is not what you think. It is not entertainment. It is not shock. It is not something meant to impress your mind. It is something meant to touch your heart and realign your life. This moment was prepared. Not generally. Specifically. For you. Long before you clicked. Long before you paused. Long before you even realized you were searching for something without knowing what it was. I saw this moment coming. I prepared it with care. And most people will never experience what you are about to experience, not because they are worse than you, but because they never stop long enough to listen. 99% will move past this without noticing what was offered. They will stay busy. They will stay distracted. They will stay entertained. But they will miss the quiet door opening in front of them. You did not miss it. You are here. That alone matters more than you realize. Timing matters, my child. Later will not carry the same power. Tomorrow will not hold the same clarity. Another moment will not feel like this one. I am not saying that to rush you into fear. I am saying it because moments carry weight, and this moment carries something meant for you now. Delayed moments lose sharpness. Delayed responses cost more than they need to. Let curiosity rise in you, but not the kind that chases excitement. Let the deeper curiosity awaken, the one that has been quietly asking if there is more than this routine, more than this heaviness, more than this cycle you keep repeating. That curiosity is not weakness. It is your heart remembering that it was made for more than survival. I need to be clear with you. This is not entertainment. This is not a trick. This is not exaggeration wrapped in spiritual words. I am not here to impress you or shock you. What is coming will not blow your mind. It will soften your heart. It will shift how you see yourself, how you see your past, and how you see what is still possible. The ending of this moment is not loud, is deep. It does not arrive with fireworks. It arrives with understanding. And understanding changes everything quietly, from the inside out. If you ignore this, something unseen will close. Not because I am angry, not because I punish curiosity, but because doors do not stay open forever. Some doors close gently, without noise, without warning, simply because the moment passed. I do not want that for you. That is why I am speaking now, with seriousness wrapped in love. Heaven is not distant right now. Heaven is leaning in, not to judge you, not to test you, but to witness a moment of awareness. Moments like this are watched closely, not because they are dramatic, but because they are rare. You are standing in one now. You are safe here. I know urgency can feel like pressure, and pressure can feel unsafe. But hear me clearly. You are not being pushed. You are being invited. I am increasing seriousness, not fear. I am drawing closer, not looming over you. My love does not change when my voice becomes firm. It becomes clear. What happens next will change how you see your life. Not instantly, not magically, but truthfully. You will begin to recognize why certain things felt heavy, why some paths never brought peace, why your heart has felt restless even when life looked fine on the outside. Understanding is the surprise. Clarity is the gift. Alignment is what follows. Open this moment fully. Open your attention. Open your heart just enough to stay present. I am not asking for perfection. I am asking for honesty. I am not asking for promises. I am asking for awareness. I have a surprise for you, and it is this. You are not as lost as you think, not as behind as you fear, and not as disconnected as it has felt. You are closer than you realize. And this moment is proof. Do not wait until it feels safer. Do not wait until you feel stronger. Do not wait until it feels more convenient. Do not wait until it's too late for this moment to do what it was meant to do. Today, listen. Let what happens next begin to change everything, quietly, deeply, and truly. You opened this for a reason, and that reason is unfolding right now. My child, you were meant to open this now, not earlier and not later, because timing is not an accident in your life. Nothing about this moment slipped through unseen. I have been watching the quiet path that led you here, the small choices, the pauses, the inner restlessness that kept returning even when you tried to ignore it. You did not arrive here by chance. You arrived because something in you was ready to hear what could not reach you before. Say, I stand boldly in faith if you're claiming every promise He has spoken over your life. There were other moments when you might have seen something like this and moved past it without a second thought. There were days when your heart was too guarded, too tired, or too full of noise to stop. I did not force those moments. I let them pass. Not because I did not care, but because your heart was not yet open enough to receive what I wanted to give without turning away. Timing is not about urgency alone. It is about readiness. This moment is not random because your life has not been random. Even the parts that felt chaotic were forming something in you. Even the delays were shaping your awareness. Even the disappointments were teaching you what empty promises feel like, so you would recognize truth when it came quietly instead of loudly. I have been preparing you through experiences, not explanations. While you were living your days, I was working in ways you could not see. I was protecting you from paths that would have taken more from you than you could afford to lose. I was slowing things down when you were about to rush into something that would have wounded you. I was closing doors that looked good on the surface but carried pain underneath. At times, you thought I was absent. I was not. I was careful. There were conversations you did not have, decisions you postponed, opportunities that slipped away, and you wondered why. You thought you missed something. In truth, I was keeping space open for this moment. I was making sure your life did not move so fast that you would miss the deeper call rising inside you now. Divine timing is not dramatic. It is gentle and precise. It does not announce itself loudly. It aligns quietly. When the time is right, things come together without forcing. That is what you are feeling now. A sense of pause. A sense of being held in place just long enough to listen. That is timing at work. You may think destiny is something far away, something reserved for a different kind of person or a different life. But destiny often begins with awareness, not achievement. It begins when you recognize that this moment carries meaning beyond what it appears to be. Destiny does not always shout. Sometimes it whispers, asking if you are willing to stop and pay attention. I prepared you by letting you feel unsatisfied with surface answers. I allowed you to feel the ache of repetition so you would long for direction. I let you experience silence so you would value clarity. None of that was wasted. It was preparation. It softened places in you that once resisted truth. You were meant to open this now because you are no longer looking for distraction. You are looking for understanding. You may not have named it that way, but your heart has been asking deeper questions. Why does this keep happening? Why do I feel this way even when things look fine? Why does something feel unfinished? Those questions are signs of readiness. This moment carries weight because it comes when you can feel seriousness without panic. You can sit with truth without shutting down. You can sense importance without needing drama. That tells me you have grown. Growth is not always visible, but it shows itself in moments like this. Unseen preparation has been happening within you as well. Your ability to listen hath been forming. Your patience has been stretched. Your tolerance for emptiness has worn thin. That is not weakness. That is hunger for something real. Hunger means you are alive and ready to receive nourishment instead of noise. You were meant to open this now because there is alignment happening between what you need and what I am offering. Alignment is rare. It does not last forever. It appears when timing, readiness, and willingness briefly meet. That is what makes this moment precious. Not fragile, but meaningful. I want you to sense destiny not as pressure, but as invitation. Destiny does not demand that you become someone else. It invites you to become more fully who you already are. The path ahead does not require you to rush. It requires you to be present. Presence is where guidance becomes clear. If this had come earlier, you might have dismissed it. If it came later, it might have felt heavier than necessary. Now it arrives with the right weight. Enough to matter, not enough to overwhelm. That balance is not accidental. It is the result of careful timing and patient preparation. Please support our channel. Our efforts are focused on bringing happiness into your life and encouraging devotion to God. If you wish, you can show your support by donating through Super Thanks. You may feel something settling in you as you listen. A quiet recognition. A sense that this fits in a way other things have not. That is not imagination. That is alignment. When truth meets readiness, it feels steady, not chaotic. I am not revealing everything at once. Destiny unfolds in steps, not leaps. But this step matters. Opening this now is the first movement. Staying present is the next. Responding honestly will follow in time. You are not being rushed. You are being guided. You were meant to open this now because your life is at a point where direction matters more than speed, where depth matters more than appearance, where truth matters more than comfort. Those values did not appear overnight. They were formed through what you lived. Nothing about this moment is wasted. Nothing about your past disqualifies you. Nothing about your questions makes you less chosen. If anything, they make you ready. Ready to listen. Ready to understand. Ready to move forward with awareness instead of reaction. Let yourself feel the significance without turning it into pressure. Destiny does not need your anxiety. It needs your attention. Give attention to this moment. Let it speak to you quietly. Let it settle in your heart. You were meant to open this now because this is where your path gently turns. Not away from who you are, but toward who you have been becoming all along. And I am here with you, not ahead of you demanding speed, not behind you pushing you forward, but beside you, guiding each step as it comes. This is not random. This is not coincidence. This is timing shaped by love, preparation shaped by care, and a moment meant for you to recognize that your life carries meaning deeper than you have allowed yourself to believe. Stay here. Let that understanding grow. This is only the beginning, my child. The surprise you expected was never what I intended to give you. Human surprise looks for shock, for something new, for information that startles the mind and briefly holds attention. It arrives loud and fades quickly. Divine revelation is different. It does not rush in to impress you. It settles in to awaken you. It does not aim to amaze your thoughts. It aims to restore your understanding of who you are. You thought the surprise would be an answer, a sign, a sudden change in circumstances, something external that would prove this moment mattered. But what I prepared for you reaches deeper than information. Information can be learned and forgotten. Revelation changes how you see yourself, and once that changes, nothing returns to the same place. Human surprise asks, "What happened?" Divine revelation asks, "Who are you becoming?" That is why this moment feels quieter than you expected and heavier than you imagined. Your heart recognizes that this is not about learning something new. It is about remembering something true that had been buried under noise, fear, and repetition. The surprise is not a secret hidden from you. It is an identity revealed to you. Identity does not arrive like a headline. It arrives like recognition. It feels familiar, almost obvious once it is seen. And yet it changes everything because you can no longer pretend you do not know it. You have spent a long time searching for clarity outside of yourself, looking for signs, words, explanations that would finally tell you what to do. I am not ignoring those needs. I am addressing the root beneath them. When identity becomes clear, direction follows naturally. When identity is blurred, no amount of information brings peace. The surprise is this: you are not who your fear told you that you were. You are not defined by the delays you experienced, the confusion you carried, or the moments you felt lost. Those things shaped your journey, but they are not your name. You have been living beneath your true awareness, surviving instead of recognizing the life placed within you. This revelation does not shout. It gently removes the lies you learned to believe. It loosens the labels you accepted because they explained your pain. It separates your essence from your experiences. And that separation feels both relieving and unsettling because it asks you to stop identifying with what wounded you. You expected a surprise that would change your situation. I am offering a surprise that changes your perspective. Situations shift more easily when perspective aligns with truth. Identity is the foundation everything else stands on. When the foundation is clear, the structure no longer shakes with every storm. This is why many people never experience this moment. They are waiting for something external to rescue them. They want answers without awakening. They want change without self-recognition. Divine revelation does not bypass the heart. It goes straight through it. As this truth begins to rise in you, You may feel emotion without knowing why. A softness, a quiet ache, a sense of being seen more clearly than you are used to. That is awakening. Awakening is not loud. It is honest. It feels like coming home to yourself after a long time away. You are realizing that you were never as broken as you believed. You were burning. You were tired. You were carrying questions without support. But you were never without value, never without direction, never without purpose forming beneath the surface. That truth was waiting for the right moment to be revealed without being rejected. The surprise is not meant to overwhelm you. It is meant to ground you, to give you a steady place to stand when everything else feels uncertain. Identity does not remove struggle, but it gives struggle context. You stop asking, "What is wrong with me?" and begin asking, "What is being formed in me?" This moment is the beginning of emotional awakening, because awakening always starts with recognition. Recognition that you have been living beneath what is true. Recognition that your hunger for more was not weakness, but wisdom. Recognition that the restlessness you felt was not dissatisfaction, but calling. I am not handing you a list of things to fix. I am restoring your sight. When you see yourself clearly, you naturally release what does not belong to you. Fear loses authority. Shame loses its voice. Confusion loses its grip. Not instantly, but steadily. This is why this surprise could not come earlier. Without preparation, you would have looked for information instead of truth. You would have asked, "What do I do with this?" instead of allowing it to reshape how you stand in the world. Now, you can receive it without turning it into pressure. Let this awakening move slowly through you. Do not rush to name it or define it. Awakening is not something you complete. It is something you allow. It unfolds as you begin to see your life through a truer lens. You are beginning to understand that your value was never in your productivity, your success, or your ability to hold everything together. Your value exists because you exist, because you were formed with intention, because your presence matters even when nothing feels resolved. That understanding changes how you move forward. You stop chasing approval. You stop measuring yourself by comparison. You stop believing that delay means failure. You begin to live from truth instead of striving for worth. This is the surprise you did not expect. Not a twist. Not a shock. A revelation. One that does not fade when the moment ends. One that continues to work quietly within you, shaping choices, calming fear, and restoring dignity. Stay with this feeling. Let it settle. Let it awaken parts of you that learn to stay quiet. You are not being asked to become someone else. You are being invited to remember who you have always been beneath the noise. This is only the beginning of what unfolds when identity is revealed. Information adds to you. Revelation transforms you. And transformation begins now, not with effort, but with recognition. Comment: Jesus is more than enough for me if he fills every empty space in your soul. I am here with you as this truth takes root. You are not alone in this awakening. You were never meant to be. My child, most people never reach this moment not because they are unloved, and not because they are unworthy, but because they are overwhelmed. Their lives are filled with constant noise, endless input, and steady distraction. The world keeps them busy enough that they never stop long enough to listen. Noise feels safer than silence because silence asks questions. Silence invites truth. and truth requires attention. Distraction is subtle. It does not arrive as rebellion. It arrives as busyness. It arrives as scrolling, filling every quiet space so nothing deeper can surface. It arrives as numbing, choosing comfort over awareness, choosing entertainment over reflection. Many people are not running from me in anger. They are drifting away without realizing it. Avoidance often looks like activity. People stay busy to avoid feeling what is unresolved inside them. They stay surrounded by voices so they do not have to hear their own heart. They stay moving so they do not have to face where they are standing. This is not because they are weak. It is because stillness can feel uncomfortable when truth is waiting underneath. Few listen deeply because deep listening requires vulnerability. It requires admitting that something is missing, that answers have not fully satisfied, that the surface is not enough. Many prefer quick relief to lasting understanding. They want solutions without surrender, clarity without reflection, peace without honesty. Deep listening asks more, not in effort, but in openness. I do not withhold this moment from others. I do not choose favorites, but not everyone chooses awareness. Not everyone pauses when truth whispers. Not everyone allows interruption. Some feel the nudge and immediately silence it. Some sense importance and quickly replace it with distraction. Some recognize the call and delay it until it fades. This is why so many never arrive here. Not because they are less loved, but because they are less willing to stop. Willingness is quiet. It does not announce itself. It simply stays when everything else says move on. You are here not because you are better than anyone else. You are here because you paused. You stayed. You listened instead of scrolling past the feeling that something mattered. That does not make you superior. It makes you aware. Awareness is not a badge. It is a responsibility to remain honest with yourself. I want you to feel chosen without pride. Chosen does not mean elevated above others. It means invited into a moment of clarity that carries purpose. This invitation does not isolate you from the world. It prepares you to move through it with greater understanding. Many people confuse chosen with specialness. That is not what this is. This is about readiness. Readiness to listen. Readiness to sit with truth without immediately defending against it. Readiness to allow identity to be revealed instead of constructed. Noise dulls sensitivity. The more noise surrounds the heart, the harder it becomes to feel direction. Constant input numbs the inner voice. Over time, people forget how to recognize quiet guidance. They mistake peace for boredom and depth for heaviness. So they return to noise again and again. You are feeling something different because you allowed stillness. Even if only for a moment. That moment was enough. Stillness does not need to be long to be powerful. It only needs to be honest. Avoidance often disguises itself as delay. People tell themselves they will listen later. They've later. Reflect later. Later becomes a habit. Habits shape lives. Before they realize it, the moment has passed, and the call no longer feels clear. Not because it was taken away, but because it was never answered. I do not speak louder to compete with noise. I wait for openness. I wait for the moment when a heart becomes tired of running and willing to rest. That willingness is rare, not because it is difficult, but because it requires courage to stop. You reach this moment because something in you chose depth over distraction. You may not have named it that way, but your heart did. Your heart recognized that scrolling would not satisfy what was stirring. It recognized that noise could not answer the questions forming quietly inside you. This is not about being spiritual enough or disciplined enough. It is about being honest enough to admit that something matters. Honesty opens doors noise keeps closed. As you listen now, let go of comparison. Do not measure yourself against those who are not here. This moment is not meant to separate you from others. It is meant to anchor you so you can move forward with clarity instead of confusion. Most people never reach this moment because they never believe they are allowed to stop. They think life demands constant movement. They think worth is proven by busyness. They think rest is earned. They think listening is a luxury. It is not. Listening is foundational. You did not force your way here. You did not earn this moment. You responded to it. Response is simple, but it is powerful. It shifts direction without effort. Do not let pride enter your heart. Pride closes what awareness opens. Stay grounded in humility. Humility keeps you teachable, open, and present. Humility allows you to receive without needing to compare. This moment does not mean you will never struggle again. It means you will struggle with greater understanding. It means you will recognize distraction sooner. It means you will know when noise is pulling you away from what matters. I am not separating you from others. I am strengthening you for what comes next. Awareness carries responsibility, but it also carries peace. When you know why you paused, you move with intention instead of reaction. Most people never reach this moment because they never believe it could be for them. They assume depth belongs to someone else. They assume clarity is rare and unreachable. They assume stillness is uncomfortable and unnecessary. You did not assume that. You stayed. Let that remain true of you. Not always perfectly, not without struggle, but with intention. Return to stillness when noise grows loud. Return to listening when distraction pulls. Return to awareness when life speeds up. You are here because you listened. That is all. And that is enough. My child, there has been something quietly waiting for you. Not forgotten, not lost, not taken away, but held with care until you were ready to receive it without fear or confusion. I want you to understand this deeply, because many of your questions have grown from the feeling that nothing was happening, that you were left behind, that your waiting meant denial. That was never the truth. Waiting seasons are not happy seasons. They are full of alignment that happens beyond your sight. While you measured time by days and years, I measured readiness by depth. I was not delaying to test your patience. I was preparing to protect what was meant for you. Some things cannot arrive early without being damaged. Some blessings collapse under the weight of unprepared hearts. I waited because I love you too much to rush what must be held with strength and understanding. What has been waiting for you is not only an outcome. It is a meeting point. A place where who you are becoming finally matches what I am ready to release. Blessings are not just gifts. They are responsibilities. Alignment must come before release, where the gift becomes a burden. That is why I guarded this season carefully. You may have felt forgotten during the waiting. You may have questioned whether I saw your faith weaken, your hope stretch thin, your prayers become quieter. I saw it all. I did not turn away. I leaned closer. Waiting does not mean distance. Sometimes it means I am holding something behind my back, smiling, waiting for the right moment to place it gently in your hands. There were times you always settled for less because waiting felt heavy. There were moments you considered choosing what was available instead of what was right. I intervened quietly. I let things fall apart that would have tied you to smaller versions of yourself. That was not loss. That was protection. I was preserving space for what was still coming. What has been waiting carries peace, not chaos. It carries clarity, not confusion. It carries growth, not exhaustion. That is how you will recognize it when it begins to appear. You will not have to force it. You will not have to shrink yourself to hold it. It will meet you at the level you have grown into through waiting. Waiting seasons teach you discernment. They teach you the difference between urgency and readiness. They teach you to listen before acting. You learn more than you realized during the silence. You learned how to survive without constant reassurance. You learned how to keep going without visible progress. You learned how to sit with unanswered questions without abandoning yourself. Those lessons were not accidental. They were preparation. What has been waiting also required alignment around you. People, timing, circumstances, and opportunities had to move into place without harming you. Some connections needed to fade. Some expectations needed to soften. Some desires needed to mature. Alignment is slow because it involves many moving parts, not just your heart. You may feel anticipation rising now, not as impatience, but as recognition. The sense that something is closer than it has ever been. That feeling is not imagination. It is awareness. Awareness comes when waiting has done its work. Anticipation without anxiety is a sign that alignment is near. I want you to release the belief that waiting means you were behind. Waiting means you were being prepared. Many rush ahead and arrive early only to damage what they receive. You stayed. You endured uncertainty. You questioned, but you did not completely close your heart. That mattered more than you know. What has been waiting for you does not come to prove anything. It comes to build something lasting. It does not arrive loudly. You arrive steadily. You will notice it by the calm it brings, not by the noise it makes. You will feel grounded, not rushed. You will feel guided, not pressured. There were things I could not give you earlier because you would have tied your identity to them. Now, you are learning who you are without needing external proof. That freedom makes you ready to receive without being controlled by what you receive. That is alignment. Waiting seasons also refine desire. You no longer want what simply looks good. You want what is true. You no longer chase what excites you briefly. You seek what sustains you deeply. That shift did not happen by accident. It happened because waiting stripped away illusions and left clarity. I know there were nights you asked why it was taking so long. I know there were moments you felt forgotten while others moved ahead. I did not ignore those feelings. I held them with you. But I did not let them dictate timing. Love sometimes says not yet, not to withhold, but to protect. What have been waiting is not fragile, but it is precious. It required the right season to be released without being wasted. You are entering that season now. Not suddenly, not dramatically, but steadily. Alignment does not announce itself. It reveals itself over time through ease, peace, and consistency. You will begin to notice doors opening without force. Conversation shifting naturally. Opportunities aligning without strain. Internal resistance fading. These are signs that waiting is giving way to movement. Movement that feels right instead of rushed. I want you to trust that nothing will be lost. Time was not stolen from you. Waiting was not punishment. It was shaping. Shaping your strength, your discernment, your patience, your self-respect. You are not the same person you were when you first started waiting. A difference matters. Type "You are my true guide." Lord, if His hand directs every step you take, and share this video.